Well, hello there, this is Shane from Shane's Reviews. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're going to talk about Libre, which is the second book, which was wrote by S.H. Jucha and was narrated by Grover Gardner. This is, like I said, the second book in the series of the Silver Ships, and I was not disappointed. This book is an exceptional example of a little bit of suspense, really. I was absolutely blown away by the courtesy and the actual humanity that is shown in this book. So, let's ask some very important questions. The first one, production quality. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it in the middle? It was actually fairly good, and I rather enjoyed it. There wasn't really a whole lot of anything that took me out of the book whatsoever, which was awesome. I don't remember them having the chapter marks in this one though, so boo on that. But if that's the only complaint that I've got from the production side, well done. Now, to catch you up, the last book, it was more of an introduction in between particular characters, such as the person that becomes first the captain, and then he becomes an admiral, and he's basically trying to save the New Meridians, which are the people that are much more advanced than the New Terrans. The reason why he's trying to save them is because there's this silver ship thing that shows up, but come to find out there's a bunch of them that comes, and they usually have a mothership, and then they completely devour minerals from a world. And not only that, but they also exterminate everything on their way, all that kind of a thing. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation on that. But the things that really kept my attention in this book the most had to do with the Sage. It had to do with this digital intelligence. Like these things are pretty much people. You can kind of see their own emotions in it. You can see their own wants and desires, but they've never met somebody like, I believe his name was Alex before, which is the Admiral, which was one of the people that's from New Terra. And originally he was basically a junker and had discovered a couple things, was kind of making it, but not really. And then all of a sudden he finds himself being the shepherd of these people in a way, because they pretty well don't have a bad bone in their body, is the way it seems. And because they don't have a bad bone in their body, they're not really used to fighting, they're not used to infighting, they're not used to insults. And in fact, there's been previous examples where when somebody feels like they're being slighted, the security force of that individual will step up to kind of put the person back into place. And that's even considered egregious whenever that happens. But we find ourselves in this perfect kind of a situation where we've got space, we've got spaceships, we've got aliens, we've got man versus alien, we've got person kind, if you want to go that route with it, against nature, against aliens, and moreover, against all odds trying to get themselves pulled back together. It's one of those things where they get kind of jump-started because of these aliens that are showing up. Because in the first book, the person that looks like they might become a love interest of the captain or the soon-to-be admiral, she is higher up in her house, and whenever they get back to their house, her brother's like, oh, hey, I'm glad to see you're still here after 70 plus years, but we need your ship, yo. Come on, give it up. And so they start their own house in this whole thing. And it's kind of interesting to see in the second book how this is progressing. So they have to come up with a plan to get the third sect, which is kind of like a prison colony in a way. It's for the people that just feel like they just can't get behind this whole house thing. So they're considered independents. And these independents, they're more along the lines of they get a lot of stuff done. We'll say that. But I really enjoyed seeing the personal relationships in this book, which is something that's usually not really got into very much. There's a slew of characters in this, and it's really interesting to see how they all interact, how they deal with the dilemma that they're presented with from chapter to chapter. And like I said, that little bit of suspense towards the end of the book when they're actually trying to escape and get away. That was well done, and it was well executed. That was well done, and that was well executed. So I applaud that as well. I feel like the question of is it worth your time, efforts, and energies is a yes, and a yes. Because there's the emotional component, there's a bit of a love story in a way, There's a story that just kind of re-braces the way that this guy is interacting with people, where they've never been interacted with this before. And not only that, his ability to interact with all these AIs, computers, or SAIDs, that he's doing things in a way which nobody's ever been able to do before in this universe. And these are all little details that are adding up. And it's kind of funny because I was thinking that the way that it ended was, wow, okay, fair. If you read it, you'll know. But it was really enjoyable the way that it did end. I liked the excuse me moment, and if you do read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But as far as like recent books that I've read about space, this is probably one of the series that's going to get my attention the most. I know that I've been reading a bit of Dorsai, but I kind of want to continue with it, but it's going to have to get over its one-trick pony of doing a story from a different perspective, from different people at different places and different times. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's all going to feed into something that's interesting, but this has a payout that's almost immediate when you get to the second book. And I think it kind of goes back to the way that I'm wired. I really enjoyed like The Martian, because that was a go-get-it book. That was, I have to figure this out. I have to make these things happen, and no matter what happens, I have to continuously move forward. And the pacing in this one was just phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. I don't feel like anything, maybe the end was a little long. It wasn't long. It wasn't like without a purpose. There was a reason why things were doing what they were doing, people were doing what they were doing, and the reason why the story continued at that point. But I really loved it, and I hope that if you do check it out that you'll like them too, and I do think that you will. It was pretty cool to see. And also, we're starting to put our comments up on the short side, just as a heads up. So if you do make a comment, more than likely that'll be on the short side of things, and that's going to be pretty neat to see, because I want to make sure that everybody that makes a comment gets their due, unless you're trying to advertise something, and in which case I'm not going to do a short for you. Forget it. Just not my style. Not doing it. But with that being said, I really enjoyed this book. Again, it's Libre, a Silver Ships novel, and I hope if you check it out that you like it as much as I did. Now, I'm not sure which one of the videos that's coming in from that side that you'll pick, but if you pick that one, chances are I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Bye.